also thinking about um, different age groups. I like to say that this is like a show for like 3 to like 99 or 100. Like it's for everyone's inner child.
And welcome to the podcast, the Broad Street Review podcast. I am your host, Darnelle Radford, and today I am in the virtual studio once again, trapped in this red box. I can't get out, but people can come in somehow. I don't know how, but they leave. I'm still here. But I am in the virtual studio today, headed to Curio Theatre in West Philly to talk about their upcoming production, Hansel and Gretel, which is an adaptation written by artistic director Paul Kuhn. And I'm here with the director, Mya Flood.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
So those who are watching on YouTube, you can see I'm in this red box, but Mya is in this mythical woodland. Can you talk about your background?
Yes, so I'm actually in my dining room, but I thought that it fit our journey so well. It's this
Absolutely.
gorgeous painting that I don't know where my mom got it from, but I thought it fit the theme. We're in the woods, we're getting a little lost, but we're finding ourselves along the way, you know?
It really does. That's awesome. So before we dive into Hansel and Gretel, tell us about Mya.
I'd be happy to. So I have been directing with Curio Theatre for the past 3 years. This is our third Make and Partake theater project. When I'm not directing, I'm also an actor in the city as well. I do musicals, I do short films, kind of the whole gambit, whatever I can get my hands on. And when I'm not doing those things, I'm a teacher. I work at Friends Select School in their after school program. So I'm directing young kids pre-K through fifth grade there 5 days a week throughout the school year. And then my mornings, I've been working on a Bitcoiner news finance podcast that should be released in January. So that's been my life lately.
That's pretty cool. It's always fun to explore what theater artists do outside of theater. And I would not have pegged you to be doing news coverage about Bitcoin.
Yeah, and it's really interesting how I fell into it. I've worked on another immersive theater piece as an actor right out of college for Philadelphia Fringe, and that producer connected me to this producer of this podcast project. They were kind of just looking for a theater creative that was comfortable in front of the camera and has read a teleprompter before. So my co-host, who knows a little bit more about like the Bitcoin finance side, didn't really have any on-screen experience, so that's where I come into play. But we just don't report on Bitcoiner, like just Bitcoin news. A lot of the things that I cover and things that interest me are like AI and education policy. There's some foreign policy things that we cover as well. So really, we're trying to take like all the news stories that aren't really getting covered on your television and bring it into this space and explain how it matters to regular people financially, but also to folks that are in that Bitcoin community.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the news for some of you listeners. All of our theater skills can be applied to more than just the stage.
Yes, yes, don't forget it.
Yes, absolutely. These are always great examples because I do think in times of uncertainty, some people feel lost. They feel like, what can I do if I can't find another opportunity to be on a stage? But like your skills transfer to so many great spaces. You could be the most dynamic person in your office because you've got all that theater experience, you can be surprised. You don't know how these skills stand out in other spaces. So, don't sell yourself short, I would just say.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us about Hansel and Gretel.
I will. So, Hansel and Gretel is an immersive theater piece um, for kids built around kids' creativity. So, you start out in the space with our candy factory workers or our actors that take you through all of these different mini workshops that you can do before the theater show starts. So friends will be invited to create sound effects that are then used in the show in real time in like a recording studio. Or folks will be learning about shadow effects and how that can tell a story and be invited to be our villain of the witch that lives in the candy house. We also have, if you don't want to be seen on stage, you don't want to be heard on stage, there's something for everyone. We also have like a candy decorating station where you can create candy that then gets put on the house to feed Hansel and Gretel when they stumble upon it in the woods. But really, there are just so many interactive parts of the show that I think are really important when it comes to children's theater. There's amazing children's theater in the city of Philadelphia, and I think it's sometimes slept on by adults and kids alike. It's hard to find programming for young people that keep them engaged in storytelling and really just show that a theater production, it takes a village, it takes a community, it takes a team. So what I hope that young people coming to see the show take away from it is maybe this is their first experience in a theater or seeing a theater show, but also it's not just about being an actor. It's also about creating scenery, creating music, and telling the story together as a community.
That's great. Like, just all of that alone sounds exciting. That it happens before the show starts, and what you're doing in that immersive moments are gonna end up in the show.
And it's
That's
there's a bunch of little surprises in there for everyone. So even things that I haven't mentioned, like changing the weather, and maybe we'll have some audience participation if parents are up for it. It's just a moment of play for everyone.
that's great. So, let's talk about the before moment of this is now available for people to come into the space, participate in these workshops, and then actually see the show. So, how do you begin planning, a make and partake series?
Yeah, so every day it kind of gets bigger and better. First, because of my education background, I've been teaching for about 8 years now. I start to think about what tactical things can young people get their hands on in a studio space that will also help us tell the story. I'm also thinking a lot about audience engagement. So, talking to my actors about sometimes kids need more than like a visual prompt to know that it's their time to shine or for them to start whatever they need to start. So, really, it's teaching those skills that transfer from a classroom into a theater space of how to keep kids engaged, but also how to kind of explain how everything works without it getting too complicated for all of them. I'm also thinking about um, different age groups. I like to say that this is like a show for like 3 to like 99 or 100. Like it's for everyone's inner child, but
Yeah.
really making sure that there's an activity for each type of age group that they can find something that they gravitate towards and they're willing to join us in the journey.
Yeah. It's always fun to say something like, "From age 3 to 99."
Yeah,
That's be 99 plus, because you never know, Dick Van Dyke might walk into the room.
I know. Wouldn't that be exciting? I'd love to see him in our space for sure, doing some like Foley sound effects or something for the show.
Yeah, because you never know. I do echo your, statement when you said there's amazing children's theater in the city, and often it gets sort of left by the wayside because the thought is, like, if I'm an adult and I'm going out with my plus one or, like, a group of friends are going, we're not going to a children's show. Not to discredit the children's show, but it's just like it's the same thought as, I feel like I've been having this chat many times. Somebody who loves concerts but doesn't like musicals, you
Hmm.
know? They don't realize there are similar workings, and they're just saying that they don't like that, they don't know. And so, yeah, this is for children, so you feel like it's not for you, but I'll tell you, like, the children's theater I've seen in the city has been amazing, and there are adults working in it, so I don't know where that thought comes from. It's
Yeah,
just brighter and a little and more accessible to the kids, but it is still high quality.
Absolutely. And the actors that I've been working with in this show and past Make and Partake productions
Mhm,
are great actors, and they're so great at incorporating the audience no matter, because some nights maybe it's like a couple of young people in the audience with their parents, and then other times it's their friends, it's their coworkers coming out to show support, but it really breaks down kind of that wall that you're talking about of you don't think that children's theater could be for you or like a friend going out, but this show has something for everybody. You have a friend that loves a craft night, We have we have coloring, we have things that you can do with your hands. You have a friend that might enjoy improv comedy. This is like another space that I feel like could fit into that too, because really every performance is so different depending on the audience that is there. So some nights we might have a little bit more adult participation than we do kids at some point,
mhm,
but everybody is welcome into that play and that joy. And I think that, adults need like a comfortable space to
mhm.
explore that inner child and like have a little fun and take off the mask of like you being like too good or too big for this experience of fun.
Yeah. I'm assuming over this time you've heard some feedback from some parents or adults who have been the guests of the children who come to come to the show. Can you just talk about how the audience has responded over the past ones? And because we're not actually, as we're talking, this is sort of the first day that this Make and Take will be presented.
Yes, it is our first preview day today. I believe our last show will be on the 31st. From past shows, I get so many parents that will come up to me or I'll hear from the box office like, "When are you having another one?" Like, "We'd love to come back." Because every time, as I said, a kid could come in and they're learning about shadow art, right? But they don't get a chance to make the sound effects or play some of the instruments that we have on stage. So every time you can kind of try each different thing, but it's been so well received and it's wonderful to see how they light up at the fact of it's not something that, like, parents can really, like, sit back like, they're allowed and they're able, right? But it's really them being beside their kid and creating this memory
Mm,
of theater and fun together, which is the thing that I get a lot of heartfelt comments about after the show is over. They're like, "Oh my
yeah.
gosh, we had such a fun time. And is it okay if we like take a picture with the set or I can take a picture of them?" Because sometimes we give them like costumes. So they'll have like a witch's hat and some like scary nails for the shadow work that we do. And they're like, "We just want to take a picture of it. And now we've created like a new family memory, a new family tradition for you to come back next year or even next week." And it's a whole new show.
Yeah, and this one's being presented around the holidays. Were the past Make and Takes around the same window of time?
They were around the same window of time. I would say that the story of Hansel and Gretel and our set design that Paul has worked through really fit into this holiday season a lot more than past shows. Prior shows we've done are the Three Little Pigs. So they are constructing the houses with the pigs and helping them build their house in real time. And then they're also tasked with like knocking it down. And the first one that we did was Jack and the Beanstalk, and that was a really fun one too. We always picked like a friend in the audience to be the giant, and so they are the big bad of the story and kind of help us go through all of the things that Jack discovers in that story.
Yeah. Hmm. And I can imagine for the adults in the room, we've heard these stories in childhood, but we also know that these stories have layers. And so the layer that you picked up on as a kid is different than the layer you pick up on as an adult. And because those stories have been have been referenced through um, many much popular media over the years, and you add those layers of complexity to it as well, make for a good experience. I can imagine being a parent watching my kid light up at being engaged by all of these crafts and like that they can participate at their own sort of level of interest. And then just seeing that we came to see a show and didn't expect my child to be a part of it. And now they're
Mm,
a part of it. And I've got this photo and it just rounds off sort of the holiday family togetherness opportunities that they've had.
yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I think that's another thing from my education background that I think about a lot. I think a lot about how, you know, everybody learns a different way, and everybody plays in a different way. Not every kid is like running around and getting the zoomies. Sometimes we have people that are a bit more internal, people that like to draw, people that like to make sounds. Like it's really just creating activity and engagement for each type of learner and each type of kid that could possibly be in the room. So there's another thing that happens during the show. We have this like gorgeous like whiteboard table that we project onto the screen. So students and oh, I keep saying students because I'm a teacher, pardon. Oh my gosh. So the our young audience friends can actually like draw the backdrops of the story as well. So everything is being created in real time. And also we're all given the chance to like admire and praise each person's part in how the story comes together.
Hmm, yeah. So can you talk about, I guess your cast that's
Yes.
working with you? Are they teaching artists or are they actors who are just great? I mean, not that teaching artists are great, but like
Right.
talk about where they come from.
Yeah, yeah. So our actors, I believe Maddie, who plays Gretel, is the only one that has an education background. Etna and Chris, they do not have an education background, but they're just like all around great people. When casting for a show like this, I ask questions about, how comfortable are you around kids? Like, do you feel like you can stay grounded and help move the story along in spite of maybe some hiccups or tangents that come from like live theater? But I would just say that they're all around great people and they take the work so seriously, and it's very funny because I'm sure that you're wondering, like, how do you rehearse for a show like this?
Hmm.
Usually it's me and my stage manager and assistant stage manager, Celia and Eden, and we are just playing like a 5-year-old every day. And we're assigned to one of our actors to keep asking questions and jump in with distraction to kind of help them process that and be ready for actual kids in place. But every time it's just we end up like cracking up and like trying to make each other laugh in that process, which is like really what we want when the audience gets there. But no, they always don't have an education background, but I don't think that you need to for children's theater. It's kind of just mostly, do you love play? Are you able to like express joy and react big? And also, are you able to kind of be aware of the friends that might be on stage with you? Because sometimes we have, like I said, that audience participation and just keeping an eye on them and making young people feel special as they're like a part of this storytelling. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
We're doing such a great job in rehearsal, and I'm sure their first preview tonight, I believe we have 8 children that will be there tonight. So that's like a solid start for them. But that first preview show is always a little bit of like a shell shock of like, oh, now we have actual kids that don't know the story. But I'm very confident in my cast. They're wonderful.
Is there a limit to how many kids can participate at one time?
I don't think so. I wouldn't say so. We never had in the past a moment where there was like a child that wasn't able to do anything,
Mhm.
unless like I would say like the toddler years of like 1 and 2, it might be like harder for them to grasp like the responsibility of a task. But really everybody has a piece in the show and everybody can play a part for sure.
Hmm, cool. Can you think about When you think about a moment in the past 2 productions, Beanstalk and Three Little Pigs, where that was kind of like a standout moment where a kid just like, you know, beam of light. This is like a beautiful moment. Like, I can't believe this happened, that we were all in the space for it.
Yeah, one stands out. I'm always surprised. So we have like a music station on stage. As I was saying, we teach the kids about Foley effects, so making sound effects in real time. So we have like a couple of instruments. We have a keyboard, we have drums, we have a rain stick for when it rains. There's some weather immersive action that happens too. It snows on stage, there's bubbles, there's fast wind. But I recall that there was a student or a kid that actually knew how to play the piano. Like sometimes a kid sits down at the piano and we're just like, you can kind of play whatever, and it's giving jazz, right? But like the kid actually knew how to like play a song, and we were like all a little shell shocked. We were like, wow, that's never happened before. He took lessons and he finally like had a chance to shine and like knew exactly what to do there. So that was really cool and exciting.
They're like, "Get that kid a contract.
Right? I'm like, can you
Sir,
come
if you could just
back? And
sign right here,
yeah,
that'd
I
be
was like, if you don't mind coming back for the matinee.
great." That's so cool. Yeah, and I love the fact that they weren't nervous about it. They just got there and started playing.
Yeah, and it's also really cool because we have all these different stations that are a part of the set, and they get to sit up close and personal with our actors. And parents, they have their tall adult sized chairs, I promise. But the parents, can just like sit back, and then they're around all different age groups of kids of all different backgrounds and communities, and they can all come together and they're all supporting each other to hear the whole story and to join in, as I keep repeating. But that's what I love about it, really. No one is coming in to that space and excluding anyone. It's all like, okay, we are all a team. That there's not a lot of room for people to say, well, you can't do that and don't do this and don't do that. Like it's a yes and
Yeah,
show for sure.
cool. So right now, there's one of these per season?
Yes, there is one children's show per season, and it's usually in the winter.
And with the excitement and the feedback that you've received about, like, when's the next one, could you see this happening more, or could you envision at some point, like, a whole make and take season? Like 3 or
Oh my
4 shows
gosh.
in the year. Here's
That
our
gave me
children's series.
chills. That gave me chills, Darnell. That's something I think about all the time because like I said, I'm always thinking about young people in the city of Philadelphia. It's
Mhm,
so hard to find third spaces for them, period, or activities that are in their wheelhouse. That's something that they never done before. Curio Theater also has a summer program where kids can go there and they're kind of working on devised theater together. So they have two different age groups, like a younger group and an older group, and then they write a show together, they create the props together, the whole deal, which I love that happens in the summer. I would love to see a full season of children's theater or maybe one for the warmer months and like one for the colder months just because I think it's like a great thing for families to do. And it just breaks up kind of the monotony of like going to school or having a play date and kind of going to your like same haunts
mhm.
and really exploring a lot of these different fairy tales that are out there and retelling them in this fun, interactive way. I think it would be amazing if there was like a full season of it, or even, yeah, just another show. I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, so because all of these are, like childhood fairy tales, story in that range, can you think of others that you would love to tackle moving forward?
think I think Goldilocks would be an interesting one. I always had this idea. It's not a fairy tale per se, but it would be like a children's book adaptation. Have you heard of Amelia Bedelia?
Yes.
You know her. You've heard her.
Yes,
So the
yes.
people that haven't heard of Amelia before, she's like a housekeeper that works for a family and she kind of just gets things a little mixed up sometimes.
Mhm.
So she'll get a to-do list and it'll say to like dress the chicken for dinner and she'll put it in like a little tiny tuxedo. And I think that that type of wordplay is like a great source of like comedy for kids.
Yeah.
And I would imagine like Amelia like having a to-do list and then inviting kids up on stage to kind of help her do these like mix up of tasks together. I think that would be so much fun. And then if I was to think of another fairy tale that would fit well, there's plenty. There's like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. I think it would be really interesting if we did some African folk tales, some Anansi trickster situations. That could be really cool. Um, I will also say like maybe Princess and the Pea. We don't do a lot of like princess narratives in Curio, and I'd love to see that too.
It's good to have a pipeline.
Yes, yes.
You know what's coming up. Yeah. But I know, it was like when you said Amelia Bedelia, I was thinking about, um, like, all those Judy Blume books and, like, Ramona and all
Hmm.
those things.
Yes.
It's like, I haven't really come across them in so long, but as soon as you mentioned the name, it just, like, I was transported to, like, 2nd grade.
Exactly. Yeah, I just directed with my after school students at Friends Select School. We did Judy Moody and her brother Stink. They go on a treasure hunt at Ocracoke Island, and I loved that script. I'm not remembering the playwright's name right now, but my favorite thing about it is that there was so many like hidden learning experiences in there. Like
Hmm,
they learned that lighthouses use Morse code to talk to other ships that are out at the ocean. And Judy and her brother had to decode a Morse code during the show that led them to the next clue of their treasure hunt.
mm,
And I love shows like that. That's what I gravitate towards when I'm picking a show for my students at Friends. I hope that there's something that they can learn that's new, and I'm also hoping that there's some type of like immersive learning or play that happens in it. And you don't see that too often in like written shows, which is why I love how Paul executes writing these. Because from the writing standpoint, that's like even harder. It's like, okay, like how do we map out this making experience, but then how do we map out the show with prompts for the audience and call and response and things that will keep them engaged in the story?
yeah. Well, that's awesome. This is, you know, I was already set to go, but hearing all these elements and the past experiences, it makes it exciting to be in the space because again, we keep talking about how theater is live and real and whatever happens tonight's not going to happen tomorrow night. It's going to be a totally different experience. And so for this make and take series, it's going to be different every time because there's different kids
Yeah.
and there's different ways to participate. They're gonna contribute something unique and different to each performance. And so to all you listeners, if you are headed towards Curio or you just live in the neighborhood, you should definitely make your way over to Curio Theater to see Hansel and Gretel, a make and partake. Written by Paul Kuhn, directed by Mya Flood, and with a team of artists who are making this happen now through December 31st. Maya, it was a pleasure to talk to you and to learn more about the Make and Take series. This is also exciting, and I, I I think this is a great way to elevate children's theater. And I hope to, I hope the night that we come and see it, or the early evening we come and see it, there'll be tons of excited families who are looking forward to this experience.
I hope so too. And like I said, don't hesitate to jump in on that play. Like, be the first to volunteer, be the first to raise your hand. Like, all that enthusiasm really helps our actors and the story move forward. Much gratitude for your time and this opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. And to everybody, you can go to Curio Theater, and that's theater spelled RE.org to get your tickets, and that's tickets plural because theater is more fun with a plus one. So buy the ticket for your kid and then be the guest of your kid to the
Yes,
show.
yes.
That's Hansel and Gretel at Curio Theatre Company, now through December 31st. Maya, it was truly a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Take care.